Hi, Celina. Thank you so much for coming, for agreeing to do this short interview with me. So, for all the viewers who are watching us, Celina runs a very popular run club in Paris. It's called Pretend Parisiens. That's how I met her. She also is a certified personal trainer, and she runs a buddy buddy workout group workout club on the Sundays, and she also is a barista at Buddy Buddy, which is one of my favorite cafes in Paris.
Oh, great.
So, and I decided to do this because Selena decided to talk about her journey in fitness and health and how it changed her life, and that inspired me that a lot of people would benefit from this.
I'm glad you think so.
Yeah. So, Selena, tell us a little bit about your life. How did you get into the whole thing of working out?
Okay. Well, I would say I've always been pretty active from a teenager. I was an athlete back in the day. And during that whole journey of being a dancer and an athlete, I got injured. And after the third knee surgery, my physio said to me, Selena, you need to be strong, or else this is just going to keep happening to you. So I had a lot of rehab, which involved gym workouts. And from that day, I guess, the third surgery, I was just like, I'm going to stay in this gym forever. So I think that's where the journey really started. And I realized gym isn't just about losing weight or looking good, it was more about quality of life for the rest of your life. So that's where it really began.
Absolutely. And when you stepped into the gym, were there moments where you felt, oh my gosh, like there are so many equipments, so many machines, these look huge. How do I even use them? What was it like for you?
I was lucky enough, or in a sense, I went through surgery, which means I went through a strong physiotherapy, which involved equipment there. So I was taught how to use those equipment, those pieces of equipment properly. So when I went to the gym, I was quite familiar with it. However, if I went into the gym without having that background knowledge, I think I would have been super overwhelmed and almost, I could say, embarrassed to use the equipment because I would look like I had no idea what I was doing.
And that is indeed a fear that a lot of people have, including some of my friends.
Yeah.
And they say, I don't go to the gym because I feel overwhelmed and it's super intimidating. People are going to judge me that I don't know how to use them. So, how should one get started?
I think if you have the resources, I think it's a great idea to speak to a professional. Not promoting ourselves here, but I do think it's really important because the gym is kind of unsafe. And if you don't use those things correctly, you could really hurt yourself there. So I think if you have the resources, go speak to a professional. Otherwise, do some research. We have social media now, and we're lucky enough that we have so many resources. Oh my God. So many resources where we can research how to use this piece of equipment. And we've got to make sure we're choosing the right people as well. So they might even, we said this before, they might look strong and look like they know what they're doing, but look for their certifications or look for their experience because you don't want to be following somebody who's teaching you how to do things incorrectly. So I think use social media if you can't use somebody in person to teach you how to use those pieces of equipment in the gym.
Absolutely. I think it's important to follow the right advice than follow somebody who looks like who knows something.
Or if you just have a strong ego in general and to think you can just do
Yes.
it, you just be careful.
To that, you said there was a point when you realized that you're gonna do this for a very long time. The gym thing, it became your thing. How long did that take for you to happen to get into that groove?
It's a bit blurry now because we're talking 10 years ago, but I've always been pretty motivated naturally as I was an athlete, and you have to be.
Hmm.
But I think you just kind of slip it into your routine every day, or however many days you're going to train a week. I think you slip it in your routine and you make it a non-negotiable. And once it becomes a non-negotiable for a couple of weeks, and you've tried it for a couple of weeks, you just keep going until naturally it's like a must do. part of your week, you know? Like there's no way around it. I've got to include this in my week somehow. So I think just like starting any habit, you just kind of gradually get into it and you make sure you do it until it gradually becomes a normal thing for you.
Right. And for that, a lot of people also tell me that I don't know which workouts to do. There's so what is the right plan? What is the perfect plan that will get to my results? What is your advice on really sticking to something until it becomes natural to you?
I would say we don't want you to get bored straight away, right? So I'd say you'd want to be experimenting. You'd want to experiment different types of machines and exercises and different types of, you know, in your body, whether it's you're doing an upper body session, you're doing a cardio session, you're doing classes, whatever it may be that you're getting involved in. I would try and switch it out, switch it up, switch it out, and try different things to know what you like, first of all, and then to also see if you want to combine two or three of those. And then eventually you'll be like, this is actually fun. This isn't even a D. This is fun. And you can slip, you know, your first favorite, your second favorite, your third favorite here, here, here in your week. And then eventually it's just like something you want to be doing every week. You know, it's what you look forward to. I've got a run club. We go to that run club and it's something I look forward to every Saturday morning because I realize that that's an essential I want physical activity wise in my life, and it's a non-negotiable. I must be doing it because I look so forward to it.
Absolutely. I think, at least for me, when I did not begin running until very recently, and the biggest motivation for me is to meet people. And it was because a friend asked me to see him, and the excuse is that okay, we're also running, but the reason I'm going doing this is because I get to meet this friend, and therefore I started doing it. And for me now, it's mostly getting to know people, and then also great coffee.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
nice to have like a reward at the end. And I'm
yeah,
not saying go stuff yourself with some donuts afterwards or something. But even if it's like, I get to now catch up with a friend that I just worked out with. You know, we get through the sweat and then we can sit down and chat. Or, you know, it's go get a coffee
yeah,
afterwards. Things like that. It's so nice to have a little healthy reward afterwards.
yeah. That's a nice segue into the topic of nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
a, a lot of conversations are always about good food and bad food, but I know that it's more nuanced. There was a point in my life when I thought like eating a piece of chocolate or eating like a cookie is just blasphemy. Like, no, you should not be doing it. It's like a cardinal sin. But over time, I've come across that I overcome that idea, and I felt like, okay, no, it's more nuanced. Not everything is good or bad. It's gray. What is a healthy diet?
Okay. I would say it needs to I would say first of all 3 meals in a day is healthy. We don't want to be doing less than that. Okay, that's the main point. We don't want to be doing less. 3 meals a day, and those meals should be including a carbohydrate, whether that's bread, pasta, rice, sweet potato, a fat, a healthy fat. So whether that's avocado, olive oil, a protein, your meats, eggs, and fiber. So whether you're getting that from fruit or vegetables or some grains. But I think color is also super important on that plate. So if you get ticking all those boxes in every meal and you've got some color there, you're kind of doing things right here already. You know, they're the main things you're looking for. Then you can get into the nitty gritty details. But I think overall that's looking like a healthy diet. And then we're avoiding some really simple things. We're avoiding sugar to an extent, okay? So, like refined sugars, that's found in almost everything you can buy in a grocery store. So, you're trying to avoid eating those breakfast, lunch, and dinner or snacking. And you're trying to, like, even, I don't know, soft drinks where people just casually drink one throughout the day or with their meals. You're avoiding that. Processed foods, that's a huge one. And then alcohol is another topic, but there's also alcohol that you could very, very well avoid. But those three main things as well, you'd kind of want to pushed aside and have them on the minimum. And then those essential food groups and the colorful plate, that's looking like a healthy diet to me.
So if I'm going out, hanging out with friends, is it okay that I indulge in that one meal, the favorite fried chicken burger or whatever that is for different people? Can they indulge in it or not?
Absolutely. I really go by picking your poison. Okay, so if generally your diet's looking good, you go Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday. And when you're at home, you have the choice and you're making the right healthy choices. I think a meal with your friends that's not usually on your diet is fine. Your body can handle that.
Absolutely, that's amazing. Wow. On that topic, we did talk about your meal should look like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and then fiber, which
Mm-hmm.
is the recipe for a perfectly balanced
Yeah.
meal. A lot of people then talk about, oh, high protein food is only for those who like go to the gym. Who, what is this whole idea of high protein foods? Who should be consuming it? What is considered high protein food?
Okay. So let's start off with what's high protein foods. We're looking at meats here, and there's a big vegan association with physical activity, which you can get onto later. It's harder for the vegans to consume a good amount of protein. But I would say your meats, whether that's red meat, chicken, fish, so be it. They are easy sources of protein. Then when you go want to get, your snacks and you don't want a steak, then go for some Greek yogurt or some cottage cheese. You've got protein powders, which I don't love, but they can be a good extra plus if you're really going for that. Tofu is good. It's probably not enough, and our body doesn't consume the protein as well as it would with other sources. And then you have your legumes like chickpeas and beans, but you've got to make sure, for example, with beans, you're pairing it with. It's usually a carbohydrate because it's an
Yeah.
incomplete protein. So you want to have that with, say, rice,
Mm,
beans and rice. Otherwise, you're not getting that complete protein in the beans. So you can eat a whole can of beans, and you're probably not getting the protein you think you are.
right.
So I would say they're the main things. I'm thinking about other things like nuts are great too, but you have to eat a lot of them. But then you're kind of like, then you're consuming a lot of fats there. But yeah, I would say my personal main sources are meats, eggs, which again you'd probably want to have at least three
Mm-hmm.
because there's only 6 grams in one egg.
Yeah.
Um, and chickpeas when I don't feel like having meat.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's the protein sources. The myth about what was it about how you
The
have to eat a lot of protein?
the myth is high protein diet is only meant for
It's
those who
people in
train
the
in the
gym.
gym.
Okay, well let's kill that myth. A human being needs protein. It's an essential to be living. And everybody has muscle, not just those who go to the gym or are physically active. We need to feed our muscles, our bones, our nails, our skin, everything. It's the growing source. And if you're not getting that protein in, then they're all going to be struggling. And therefore, that can create low immunity. And because your body's struggling and it's trying to keep up. So a high protein diet is so important for everyone. Also, it curbs hunger.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hungry, you probably haven't had enough protein and fats. You're probably just feeding yourself carbohydrates, yeah, because
Right.
it's your body's like, wait a second, where's my protein? I gotta feed these muscles day to day because I'm on my feet or even I'm typing with my fingers. Like anything you're doing, you need it. So I think kill that myth.
Yeah.
Maybe those who are going to the gym need some more because their muscles are like, help, help, help. I just worked out. But apart from that, everyone needs it.
So, what is the bare minimum that any human being, irrespective of whether they're in the gym or not, or they're training for a sport,
Yeah.
how much is the bare minimum for any human being?
Well, obviously we all have different size
Yeah.
bodies, and all bodies do accept different amounts, right? But I wouldn't be counting. I never count ever. I don't look at the amount of like grams in everything I eat.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it is like 50. I would say about 30 to 50% of your plate is that,
Mm.
right? And if you can't look at your plate and be like, there's my source of protein, then you're doing something wrong there. So I would say
Mm.
at least on every main meal, you've got at least 30% of that is protein, right? And then when you're snacking, you probably also want to be ticking that box too, because that's also going to keep you full
Mm.
and it's going to give you more energy because your muscles like, thank you.
Yeah, that's super interesting because I always would look at the nutrition label
Okay.
behind the products,
Mm-hmm.
and I am someone who loves tracking.
Yep.
At least when I began, it became a religious thing for me to track.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, I've reduced the amount of tracking because I've become an intuitive eater.
Yeah.
But that is a very good way for a lot of people who don't want to track, or just the fact that it's just overwhelming because of putting the numbers and like having to observe all the time what you're
It's
eating.
exhausting.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I also think it's a little bit less cut and dry like that.
Yeah.
You can't kind of just look at the grams at the back of a packet and be like, okay, I'm getting this, and this, cool, I'm done. No, but
Mm.
wait, did you check the ingredients? Because do you
Yeah.
understand all of those words back there?
True.
Do you understand all of those ingredients? Because if you don't, it's probably not a natural food.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's more of a concern than how many grams of something you're getting in. You
That's
know?
right.
I think also when something says sugar free, you look at the ingredients. You don't see the word sugar there, but there's other ways they've got it in
Yeah.
there. You know?
Like
Maltodextrin.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, I don't think anything would ever say sugar free and then have glucose syrup, but
Yeah.
glucose syrup is sugar,
Yeah.
the worst form of sugar, or corn syrup.
Yeah.
So those things you got to keep an eye out for, and I think that's more important. I'll look at a label for sure, but that's the only thing I'm looking for. I am looking for the ingredients. So I think I would, for those who want to eat a bit better, my tip of advice would be don't worry about counting because it's overwhelming and it's exhausting. I'd look at those ingredients, and if you don't understand one of those ingredients, keep it away.
Keep it away.
Yeah,
Whole foods, whole natural foods.
that's it. Yeah.
Moving on. So, a lot of women think that it's best that they stick to cardio or do yoga or Pilates,
Okay.
but not lift weights because it's going to make them look bulky, it's going to be less feminine,
Okay.
all of these labels that are attached.
Mhm.
I believe that it prevents them from really achieving like a high quality of life. What is this myth? Let's demystify this.
Okay. So, ladies out there, first of all, I go to the gym religiously. I love that place. I wouldn't particularly call myself super bulky. So maybe there's like living proof already that you don't have to be bulky and go to the gym, you know? And also there's ways around that too. If you mix it with cardio, you're not getting too bulky. We all have different body types. So
Exactly.
somebody, I don't know, if Satvic was a female right here, he might bulk up really easily.
Maybe.
Okay, his muscles just be like, I'm loving this, I'm gonna grow. And my muscles might be like, I'm struggling here, I need to work extra hard to get bigger. So everyone's bodies are different, but we can't generalize and be like, if females go to the gym, you're going to get bulky and look manly, whatever that means. So I think let's get rid of that myth. It's not true, first of all. Women don't only need to be doing Pilates, yoga, cardio. The gym is a safe space. It's also an important place. So
Absolutely.
I think every woman, everyone, no matter what the gender, sex, should be in the gym for our future. Because when you're old and you got osteoporosis, you're going to be regretting not having lifted those weights. Weights are going to prevent you low bone density when you're older. You're going to be able to carry your groceries for years and years and years to come.
Exactly.
Little things like
Yeah.
this. If you get injured, you're going to be able to recover much quicker. It's so many things that you don't think about until it happens.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's too late.
And also like playing with children and like just do like enjoy nature, go on those hikes.
Go run with your kid outside.
Yeah.
So many little details. It could just be all so much easier if you just hit that gym and you lifted some weights.
Yeah.
Because it's great you're doing the other things. I'm never going to be like, don't do Pilates, don't do yoga. They're great. But you should be combining it with some weight training too, I think. And if you are combining it, you shouldn't be getting too bulky here.
Yeah.
Because you've got a great mix going on. It also depends on what you're eating afterwards too, which
Yeah.
plays a big role in bulking.
And what if somebody doesn't enjoy to be at the gym, or they're traveling, or it's just harder to get out and be in the gym? Do you really need weights to be able to build muscle, or are there other ways to do that?
Absolutely other ways to do it. I love weights because it helps with your bones. So we're talking about quality of life later on. That's great. But if it's not an option, that's okay. There was COVID, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have gyms, did we?
We didn't.
What were we doing? Those who like to keep fit and healthy, we were doing bodyweight workouts.
Yeah.
And so you can definitely keep your strength by doing bodyweight workouts. You weigh however much you weigh. And if you're doing bodyweight exercises, you're carrying that much weight during the exercise. So you still got some weight going on, right? And that can keep you fit, it can keep you toned, it can keep you strong. As long as you're switching it up and you keep advancing it as you're getting a little stronger, I think bodyweight exercises are definitely still a thing. Also, if you've got a TheraBand, like a booty band or resistance band, they can also be really helpful. They're easy to take around. If you're going traveling, pop it in your suitcase, get up in the morning, do a couple of booty band exercises, and there you go. You've activated your muscles. They've worked a little bit. You've burnt a little bit of energy. You're ready to go on for the rest of the day. I think there's definitely ways around not having access or not wanting to go to the gym with weights.
Right. And how often people should work out?
Each their own.
Mm.
It depends on what your goal is. So I think if it's just quality of life and just keeping fit and healthy, I think 3 is a really nice amount. 3 is great. 3 times a week, you're being active out of 7. I think that's a good amount. If you want to, it really depends on the goal. I mean, if you're wanting to lose weight, you'd want to do a little bit more than that. Maybe almost be active every day, but those days might look different. For me, I just want to be strong, so I go 5 times a week to the gym, and then I run once or twice a week.
Right. And what is your favorite weight? Like, how do you split your workouts?
So definitely not training a body part twice in a row.
Yeah.
That's my major rule, obviously. I favor my legs. I do love to do legs. So I have like maybe about 4 different lower body workouts that I do and 3 different upper body workouts that I do. And they change depending on my week.
Right.
And I like the variety I get out of that because I don't feel like every week I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Just depends on my week. I definitely try and lay in 2 rest days in there. Sometimes it looks like 1. But I'm working on the resting. And then a running day is definitely not on the same day as a leg day.
Oh.
Because that's dangerous. Your legs are just tired.
True. At least I started training my legs more ever since I signed up for my first ever half marathon.
Ooh, exciting!
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel prepared because I did a few test runs
Okay.
to see if I can
What's the furthest you've run?
21.1.
Oh, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's already done it.
Those are the test runs.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like, okay, race day shouldn't be bad. I will be able to finish my race.
Absolutely.
So,
and the adrenaline, you'll be doing more than you think.
It's with the people, the vibe, and everything going on.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
So, yeah. So, training all parts of your body is equally important.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're training for a race, for example, it's definitely important to train your lower body. Like, have separate sessions in the gym for that. Your upper body, maybe you can kind of relax while you're training just because your body needs a rest. And if you're trying to tick all the boxes, then your body's like, hold up, when do I get my rest time here?
Right.
For long distance training. But yeah, I would definitely try and be careful. If you're training for a long distance run, you kind of want to hold off on the weighted exercises and the weighted the gym workouts. But you do want to keep your legs strong. And it is overall so important to just train it all, upper body, lower body. Again, going back to your future. And your body just needs you to be strong in all ways possible.
Right.
And you're going to love it. Like, you walk around just feeling strong and capable.
Yeah.
And you're going to love your body for it.
Absolutely. I remember a moment when I was on the rooftop of Oslo Opera House, and I saw a guy doing handstands.
Yeah.
So handstands have been a goal for me in 2024.
Okay.
And I am barely at like gotten good at it, but the fact that I was able to hold my handstand for even 1 second, and I was in a position to do that, I have strong joints, my shoulders were able to support me.
That's it.
Is a fact that I all this training came to like work.
Yeah, you're rewarded for it.
Exactly. And I enjoy rock climbing. I gotten into it.
That's great.
And the fact that all that back workout is helping me climb up.
Totally.
Yeah, it's super fun to see the results.
Yeah, you really become in tune with your body when you start to really take care of it.
That is super cool. So it's a good segue into rest days. How important is resting time? We spoke so much about pushing yourself, putting that amount of stress in your body so that it grows. But how important is rest is? What is its role?
Rest days are just as important. If you're not resting your body, if you're training it hard and you're not resting your body, it has no time to recover. So essentially, let's just talk about weight training, for example. You're weight training, let's say 4 times a week, and you've done a leg session. Your muscles have teared. They have teared naturally, and overnight they would like to grow back together and stronger. That's kind of how it works. And so when you wake up the next morning, you're feeling sore. It's because your muscles they're torn, but they're repairing, right? And if you're not resting enough, they have no time to do the repairing part. So they're just getting weaker and weaker because you haven't let them rest. And eventually that can cause injury. That can cause, your body just females especially, their body starts to give up. That could be, losing your period. However, it depends on whether it was chronic loss of rest days or if it's just, a week, you've had an off week and you're like, oops, I forgot to rest so much, But I think it's really important that you schedule in rest days just as much as you schedule in workout days, because it can be super dangerous for our bodies.
And let's say if I am working out 3 days a week and maybe running long distance 2 days, so 1 day of rest is good.
It depends on those. It depends on those running days.
Yeah.
Okay. So Savix is at a point in his life where he can do the physical activity because his body's used to it. If you're new to it, that's a whole heap to handle. That's a different story, right? But if your body's used to physical activity, it's doable. It absolutely is doable. That kind of looks like my schedule in a sense. I think you'd want to be careful with how far you're running on those days. And therefore, are you giving your body enough time to rest?
Right.
Because if it's a shorter run, an easy pace run, your body can handle that, right? But if you're doing 2 intense runs plus 3, intense weight workouts, you got 2 rest days, sure. Have you spaced them out correctly? And have you given you enough time between each workout where your bodies can recover? Because I don't know about you, but a long distance run for me really takes it out of me.
Right.
And sometimes I need like 2 rest days in a row because my legs are just like, oh, Celina, what have you done to us?
Yeah.
And so I just kind of tune in with my body. I'm like, hold up, I'm not actually ready for that body, the weighted workout this time because my body's still craving some rest. So I like to make a plan at the start of the week on what I'm going to do. It often doesn't end up looking that way.
Right.
Because my body, maybe I had a lack of sleep, and the next day my body's not actually ready to do a gym workout. And sometimes I listen to it, and sometimes I don't. And when I don't listen to it, I regret it. So I think even though you make a plan, it can definitely change because the most important part is to be really in tune with your body.
Right. And that's a good segue into uh really like, oh, I lost my thought too.
We had a tiny little baby just walk past. It
Wow,
was
that was so
distracting.
cute. Yeah. You said that there are days when you feel like you have not recovered, but
Mhm.
you have a workout plan.
Yeah.
So, how should we decide if we should go for it or not? What is a good metric or a guideline that any person could follow?
Okay. Because often there is a fine line between lack of motivation
Yes.
and unsafe, right? I think what I've learned over time, first I'll calculate how many hours of sleep I got.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't 7 to 8 or over, then I really start to question it because naturally 6 hours is not enough to be functioning
Mm,
properly. Okay? Sorry, I hate to break it to you,
yeah.
but 6 hours is not enough. So that's my first point. If I have had that amount of sleep, that little amount of sleep, I usually say no, not today. Because
Right.
I got to take care of this body because I already haven't, you know? And then if you've had enough sleep, but you're still not feeling it, right? Your body's exhausted, you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably give yourself the 5 minute rule.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to the gym for 5 minutes. Okay, you've made yourself, you've gotten there. That's the easy part to get there. Now you start your workout. You've been there for 5 minutes. You've done a couple of exercises, maybe you've warmed up. And at that point, you should really be sensing, can I keep going? Or is today just not the day at all?
Mm.
And I always go by this 5 minute rule because usually 98% of the time you stay,
Mm.
right? Because you're like, I'm
Yeah.
here now and my body actually is capable.
Yeah.
But if that 2%, that would be that I've done an exercise and my body feels ill.
Mm.
I cannot possibly go on. That's when you pack up your bag and you're like, you know what? Not today.
Not today.
I would go off those little measurements. I must say, from personal experience, just the other week, I went against my own rules. And I was in that 2%.
Right.
I started my work and I was like, Celina, why are you here? Because your body is aching. You have not rested enough.
Mm.
I was a bit puzzled because I did have a rest day just the day before. But again, you got to be in tune with your body and listen to it. And unfortunately, I stayed. And unfortunately, I injured my back that day.
Oh no.
That was the day I injured my back.
Mm.
So I think it's really important to just listen to it.
So the key is to make sure if you're sleeping enough, and then also see if you're 5 minutes into your workouts, how do you feel? If you feel sick and tired, probably not.
Yeah.
Great. Wow, that's great. Because I then have to, I'm going back into an introspection mode. Just this morning, the fact that I slept less than 7 hours,
Okay.
and normally I don't get good quality of sleep because it's no usually interrupted,
Okay.
and it's interrupted and less than 7 hours, and then it's natural that I feel like very groggy and I didn't really want to go out, and then still I push myself. I mean, in the short term, it feels like, oh yeah, you have like won the world by going against your mind and
Right.
all of
Totally.
that.
I get that.
Yeah.
I do think also there's less flexibility for females than males. So, females, if you have had less than, say, 7 hours of sleep, you got to be careful
Mm.
because your body can handle less of this attack than a male's can, unfortunately. So, you boys can get away with this a little bit more. You kind of like, unfortunately, kind of like superhumans sometimes, and you can just do it all. And then maybe one day it will catch up on you. But us females, your body's just going to be working far too hard,
Mm.
and it's just going to cause your body high cortisol levels, and it'll react in ways you do not want it to react,
Right.
which may be, bloating. You may have a funky, period symptoms, whatever the time of the cycle is, or you might be just, you might have this attitude problem and you can't shake it out just because your hormones are reacting to this moment you haven't been taken care of.
Right. That is a good segue into the part where we discuss about should women work out during their periods? What should it be like? What is the rest recovery time going to look like?
I think, again, each their own.
Mm-hmm.
and you can really just listen to your own body. But I would say overall, when you're menstruating, when you have your period, you should be exercising less.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's tired. That was the moment when you were supposed to have a baby, you know?
Mm.
And so your body wants some rest there. It's asking for some rest. So I would do low impact activity. That could be yoga, it could be a long walk.
Mm-hmm.
And also the week leading up to it as well. You've got to take really good care of how much impact you're putting on your body. Not to say that you can't weight train or run, but I would go full ball ahead on the first 3 weeks maybe of your cycle, and then slow down after that until you get your period, and then you kind of recovered from that. But I think also if you're getting really bad period symptoms, then that's your body way your body's trying to send you a message and be like, you're doing something wrong, because I actually shouldn't be feeling this way.
Right.
It's become, people say it's normal to have period pains and whatnot. It's only normal because everybody feels it, but it shouldn't be normal, because we're actually, it just means that you're not taking care of your body in a certain way it wants to be taken care of.
Right.
And that's something you've got to take the layers off and really evaluate in your own time. But for me, I don't get any period pains or anything, any of those severe symptoms. But I do notice that when I do have my period, I feel a lot weaker. And I definitely feel a little like grungier. And I don't really want to be active, but I do at the same time because I know it'll make me feel better.
Yeah.
But one thing I definitely try and do much less of when I have my period is running.
Running, okay.
The cardio really plays a role in high cortisol. Your body's under stress, whether it's 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, your body's under stress, and it just wants to chill out for a bit.
So the key would be that instead of completely avoiding movement, you could do like low intensity workouts.
Yeah, for sure. Low intensity, whether that's like a bodyweight workout at home or a little like a low impact Pilates session. Yeah. Yoga's just the most wonderful thing when you're on your period. It's beautiful. Even like doing those stretches can really relieve like bloating and just help you feel like zen when you're going through your period.
Right. So yeah, I think we're coming towards the end of this. If there were like 3 principal things that you would want to tell anybody who's never ever worked out but wants to take that first step in their life towards a high quality of life, giving themselves the best things that they deserve, what would be those 3 things?
Okay. Number 1 would be think about your future, not today. And that is, do you want to see a bright, healthy future? Number 2, I would say take it day by day and introduce habits slowly. Be patient with yourself. Number 3, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Today's the day you start. Just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Celina, for that wonderful pieces of advice, insight into your life, and also like it's just super helpful for a lot of people who have never worked out or people who are working out, even people like me who have been working out for over more than 2 years now, but I still got to learn so much about women's health.
Yeah.
Also, just I should improve my training too. I now feel like there are days where I overstrained myself.
Okay.
For sure, there are many days like that, and now I know that what are good metrics to see if I should be taking a rest day or I should, it's a motivation thing. Just do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And also, you don't need to be too precious. Your body can handle a lot, but again, it can also be just like to a point where it's just going to collapse. So you got to find that balance.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in and for asking me all these fun questions.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.